Hey guys, what's going on? Jimmy the Alley here. Wayfinder's been out for like 2 days now. I can't play anymore. The devs are working on getting the servers back up once again, and that's no dig at the devs. The devs are trying their hardest to deliver what they promised, and by God, they are working hard. They are probably having the worst time out of all of us. Yes, we can't play the game, which sucks, but Jesus Christ, I would hate to be anyone trying to get these servers to work at the capacity that they need to work at. They didn't expect this volume of people, sadly, and to be fair, like I said in my video, there was ways around this. A server slam would have fixed this to a degree, but they couldn't have went off pre-orders, so there was only one way to really do it. And, you know, I felt really bad that I went a bit hard in that video, but the devs are working fucking wonderfully just to try and get this shit to a functional level, and I can't but appreciate the fact that they're working that hard to try and get it. As soon as there's a problem, the server alerts will let you know on Discord that there's a problem. This might be, we might know what's causing the issue, or they know what's causing the issue, and then they give you a general time basis for when it will be fixed. Right now, they don't seem to know what the issue is. There's just a critical error, and they don't know when it will be fixed. So, I don't think I'll be playing until tonight, so this is where the first impressions are coming out now. So, how's the game? Does it function? Is it a fully working game? Is it all connected and well woven, or is it just a load of ideas thrown into a world and doesn't click or collect at all? Let's find out. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, but if you don't have the super duper ultimate editions, which I am planning on upgrading to because I do want to support the devs, even though I may have shat on them for their server issues and the easy way to fix them, it still stands that I think the devs are doing a stand-up job of not just folding under the pressure, giving up and going, look, we don't know what we're doing. I don't think we can make it work. We're just throwing a temporary solution. There's a login queue of about 1,000 people allowed in at once. There's about 1,000 people allowed in the game. You're just going to have to deal with it. They're constantly trying to ramp up the amount of people allowed in the queue, the amount of people allowed in the game, the server stability so people who actually get in don't get booted out. They're working hard, and I applaud them for it. The game itself is functional. The servers just are not. That being said, we need to stop hiding behind it's an early access game. It's going to have problems. I get that, and I truly do. And if I'm playing the game, and like I did, I got stuck in a crevice, and I couldn't get out, I had to just fast travel. It's an early access game, that shit happens. If a boss fight bugs out, like the spider did, and just randomly laid on the floor, and I didn't know if the fight was going to continue properly, until I realized I just missed the spider, it's an early access game, I would have restarted the fight, no big deal. What I do argue is that I want to be able to play the game. I paid for it, I want to play it. Just because it's early access doesn't mean they can't give me a game. It still needs to play to some degree. I do not care if by like half an hour in, the game's not functional and they have to fix it. Fair dues. It's an early access game. That's why it's there. I do, however, expect to get that hour in before I find the problem. I want to play the game. Saying it's early access is not an excuse to not be able to play the game at all. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. I think, yeah, I went too hard, but at the same time, people need to stop defending devs to the core for their every last breath. I think the devs are doing an amazing job, but criticism is criticism. They need to know this is not an acceptable way to launch a game, even in early access. That's all I'm saying. It's not a hard pill to swallow. I digress. That's my first impressions on the servers, I guess. I digress. Once you do beat the final boss of the login queue, you do get to select one of your free classes, being sword, shield guy, gun guy, and daggers girl, or the other way you could put it is assassin, ranger, tank, support, healer. I tried the sword and shield guy out, and I will say the melee combat is fucking amazing. Everything I wish for. Can't wait to unlock either a scythe or a great sword, great axe girl, because they seem like they'll be the most fun I'll have in melee, and actually get to go hog wild in the melee combat and sink my teeth into that. But for now, I'm sinking my teeth into the range combat, and I'm loving it just as much, if not more. The reload mechanic is really fun and enjoyable, and adds an interesting layer to the range combat. It's not just sit there and spam your gun until guy dies. You gotta keep an eye on your ammo. If you want to use it to most effective, I found and I don't know if this is the way to use it, but this is the way I've started to use it, especially in longer boss fights, is shoot like four-ish bullets and then reload so you can fire 4 bullets in a faster rotation instead of firing 4 bullets slowly, 5, 6 even slower, and then reloading to fire 4 bullets fast, 5 and 6 slow. Instead, just having a constant rotation of 4 to 5 fast bullets going off at once. As the rotation I've been trying to use, and it makes you feel really good and makes it feel skilled. Like there's some actual skill level there, some skill expression, and not jamming your gun while you're trying to dodge what's happening on screen, while aiming at your enemy, while making sure you hit the perfect reload, while hitting it as fast as possible to get out the quickest amount of damage. I feel like the range combat is really fleshed out, and it's not just fucking spam the ability, boom, 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 until the thing dies. There's actual fucking depth to it, as well as you have the firebomb, the tar trap as well, which has a combo where you could firebomb, tar trap, firebomb, and because it resets the firebomb with each tar trap, you get to have an extra firebomb stored for once the burning runs out. There's stuff like that. There's just little things that you can learn along the way that make the game just more enjoyable to play, and there's actual combos within the skills and whatnot that help. I will complain about, however, is that from what I can see, all classes have the same skills. Not, and I don't mean like every class has the same skill. I kind of said that poorly. I mean like all the classes only have one set of skills. For example, the Ranger will only ever have the bomb, the tar trap, the robot dude, and the hologram, right? And then that's all his stuff. He never gets any more. He can choose which ones he wants to level up, and that's about as far as it goes. Now, granted, I think Warframe, which is what the publishers also published as well, works somewhat the same, and I know this is supposed to be Warframe-esque, and I think a lot of the stuff is going to change from the weapon I choose and the stuff I put on my weapon and my character, so I'm not really sure how it's going to work in the long run, but just ability-wise, I don't know if I can change them up in any other way than just leveling them, so it's kind of saddening that like every Ranger is going to be doing the same thing. But I don't know if that's just an early access thing and they're planning to add more abilities to these classes, or just as a good way to balance the game, I guess, would be another way. Just leave these guys as the class they're meant to be, with the abilities they're supposed to have, and then just move forward and keep them in that like niche path that you want them to be into. Makes balancing easier, as well as everything else in between. I just don't like the fact that my Ranger is going to be the same as his Ranger, and there's not going to be many ways to change it up other than what weapon we choose at the end, because all the weapons do different things and you can put different like buffs on them to do different things. I think that's where the majority of the change in builds is going to come from, I guess, but we'll have to wait and see. No, I don't know anyone that's in end game yet. Seeming the servers are still just dying, so we'll have to wait and see. I want to go into the open world next. The open world is magnificent. Exploring this thing has been the funnest time I've had exploring a world in a while. I want to search in every nook and cranny, and I don't want to miss a single thing. Jumping, dashing, and running around this world feels enjoyable. I haven't had a moment where I'm like, man, I don't want to run to this location. I'd rather just fast travel and stuff. I generally do feel myself running around the world, making sure I haven't missed anything. Generally just enjoying my time and just having a fun time with the combat and stuff, fighting most things along my way, getting all the craftables that I can find in the area, just having a fun time. The dungeons themselves are randomly generated. It seems to have set generations they can load, but for the most part they're all random to a degree, and I would say this with the biggest smile on my face. This is one of the only times in a video game where I actually enjoy playing with randoms. Like, every moment I've had with a random in this game, just someone I don't know in the matchmaking, it hasn't been painful, it hasn't been annoying, it's been fun, it's been enjoyable. Us running around figuring out where we're going and what we're doing has probably been one of the more enjoyable parts of the game. Seeing what the other classes do and seeing what everyone's doing, it's just been really fun, and people using text chat actually to speak to me has been fun, nice, and enjoyable. The dungeons themselves are just romps through a dungeon with some puzzles and events that happen in between. They're nothing special, but they're not boring. They are kept interesting and entertaining with all the random stuff that you can find from beginning to end, ending with either into a boss room that will either give you an actual boss or just a load of enemies to kill, and then that's the end of the dungeon. You can add prefixes and stuff to these to make them more challenging. I haven't really played around with these prefixes, so I can't really comment on them. I've done one or two. One was the shadow one they tell you to do for the progressive quests, and the only noticeable difference is that when they died, they left like an explosion on the ground, and that was about it. I didn't really notice anything else differently. I don't know if them gaining size was due to the shadow, but I think that was to do with hacking or something. I couldn't really tell you. I'm not really smart enough to figure it out. The dungeons themselves, though, boil down to being just really fun and enjoyable, and I do like doing them multiple times. And if I like doing things multiple times, normally it means it's a good thing. So that's always good. Moving on to the bosses themselves are also entertaining fun romps through a quick dungeon. See, the thing is, and I'm glad they've done it this way, you can just do the boss fight off rip. There's no need to travel through a long dungeon and, you know, progress through this long area to find this boss. It's just you boot up the boss fight dungeon and you just walk through a little walkway to get you ready for him, and then you go fight him. And yeah, the fights are so far pretty easy, all things considered. The first fight will give you a bit of a challenge while you're trying to work out what's exactly going on. After that, because there's so far the first two, so it's not like the rest of the game will be like this. It's just the first two bosses so far are somewhat easy to fight and have pretty simple mechanics. You can then start running through them and just downing them pretty quickly. So far, I'm like sphere 3 spider bosses down. I was about to move to the blood swarm one, which is the second boss. But first, we'll start with the first one, the spider and his many merry ads. He's an interesting fight. Mostly, you just gotta watch out for when he's jumping at you. Make sure he doesn't hit you with the webs and kill his ads when they spawn, and you won't have a problem with him. He's a pretty decent fight, all things considered, and he has a decent little cutscene, and for the first boss fight he sets up everything perfectly fine for you. Did really enjoy him. The blood spawn is more of a trickier fight where you actually need your team to cooperate with you so that you guys can focus down at least one or two of the things he splits into. How this boss fight works is very simple. When you kill him, he splits into 3 blobs, and killing the blobs will reduce the amount of times you have to fight him again. The only better bonus is that the damage dealt to the blobs carries over to the next time you down him again. So if, let's say you kill him, you kill one blob, nearly kill the other 2, then you down him again, then you can just instantly kill the 2 blobs, then he'll resurrect once again, and then you can just kill him outright. You don't have to do another round, which is nice. I do like that. It does make it better, and much more better if you're just farming something from him and you do more damage. It means you can skip multiple phases, which is always nice. Also, it means good cooperation is rewarded with less phases as well, and a faster fight, which is always nice. I like it when they make cooperation and actual working with your team rewarding in some way, shape or form, rather than a bunch of fools just doing what they're doing. But both boss fights so far have been pretty fun and entertaining, if very simple in nature. And I'll get into the one thing that I don't like so far is the matchmaking. I don't know what it is, but like, it feels like I get into matchmaking, it throws me into the dungeon with one person or no person, and then progressively puts me in with other people. And I don't get why it's not just matching me with more people. I don't know why, it's just weird. I'm not really sure why it's happening like that, but the matchmaking seems a bit off so far, but that probably is linked to the server issues. I will go into some of the complaints I'm having so far though. So the biggest complaints right now obviously are the server, and most of it is server issues. For example, the game is crashing and getting stuck on loading screens, and that wouldn't be too bad or a big complaint, but when you log off and you get a long ass 3-hour waiting queue when the game doesn't load or gets stuck on a loading screen, you instantly hate your life, and fearing a loading screen is not what you want to be doing in modern gaming anymore. So that is a negative to hold on to. Like I said before, all the classes having one set of abilities to use, not very interesting to me, but we'll see how that pans out into the later game. And that's really about it, except for I forgot one thing. Randomly and weirdly, and I don't know how this works, it just feels like some stuff isn't jump ontoable enough. Like, for example, there's this bit where it looks like there's a parkour section. I should be able to grab this plank of wood to jump onto it, to jump onto the other ones, but he won't grab it. And I don't know why. It generally seems like that is the intended route to take up those platforms. It just doesn't let you do it. So I think that's weird. It's not very clear what your character will grab onto and what it won't. Except from that, everything else in this game has been amazing so far. And I applaud the devs for making such a solid game. I see years and years of me having fun. As long as those servers are holding and they're not shutting the game down in like 2 years, I can see me having years and years of fun with this game. The devs have done an amazing job to pump out something of quality, and if it wasn't for the servers, I would be singing praises on this game and its developers. Right now, I can't recommend you buy it because, one, you're just going to add to my problems of I can't get past the login queue, so please don't buy this game. Please just wait like a month so that I can actually fucking play it. But also for your sanity, you don't want to be bundled in with this problem right now. I will make a video to update when the servers are actually fully functional and working, and then I can recommend you buy the game. But at the moment, the servers are just too fucking dead and dying for like anyone who's buying the game. One, you're just going to add to the problem of servers, and two, you're just not going to have a fun time, and you probably likely aren't going to play it by the time the servers are working. Just wait. Just do the smart thing and wait. But anyway, that's my first honest opinions. The servers are dying, and it's saddening because when you actually get in, it's one of the funner games I've played, and I can't wait to sink hours and hours and hours grinding every single character, getting every single achievement. I'm going to have a blast. So I recommend playing the game. I just recommend waiting like a week, just a week, maybe a month. I like I said, I'll upload a video when the servers aren't dying constantly, and we'll go from there. But anyway, that's my honest first opinions of the game. Amazing game, combat's great, exploration's great, dungeons are great, boss fights so far are good / great, just too simple and easy to fight at the moment, so I'm hoping they get more difficult. Biggest complaints being not enough abilities. Every class is going to feel the same unless it changes up in the later half of the game with all the stuff you can add to your character and weapons, and just some weird stuff in matchmaking, and the jumping just doesn't adding up correctly. But overall, one of the best experiences I've had in 2023 when the servers aren't dying. I hope to see you guys in the next one. You'll hopefully see more boss videos come out, some more Wayfinder videos. It's fucking Wayfinder month when the game servers are working. It's just going to be constant Wayfinder content for a while. So stay tuned. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace.